What's up, fellas? Nordoom here. We're playing some more Cards and Castles. And, oh my god, my CP, what happened? No, I'm just joking. This is actually not my main account. This is an alternate account I have. So you can see at the bottom, logged in as Blight. So in this account, I don't come on here often. But, I just have a few cards. I made this account a long time ago. And I don't really play it. But, almost about a year ago, there was another player named Darkin, and he did this little experiment where he made a deck of all commons and he got to rank 1. So I did the same thing soon after. It looked like fun and I did it, and within a couple of days I hit rank 1 with all commons deck. So I tried doing something similar back in, I think, October. It was late October. It was right before Warlock Academy came out. And so first time we did this, it was 1.0. Before Warlock Academy came out, I was getting a little bit bored, and that was in 2.0, and unfortunately, I was not able to do it. So this was the all commons deck. I did Warlock Ninja. The main reason for that is just because I like those two factions, not because I think they have any particular edge or something. I just like that playstyle. I like doing it, experimenting with a few different things, and I got up to, I don't really remember, I think it was rank 6 or rank 5. There's a post in the forums about that in the strategy section, I believe, or in general gameplay. And I got high up there, but around rank 5 is probably where players start having both good decks and they have like some level of skill where it's almost like a wall. Not that players below that are bad, but around rank 5 there's like a wall. You need to have like a well-tuned deck to get past rank 5. And I felt like this deck just did not have the bombs, the heavy hitters, things that we need to burst through. I was winning a little bit more out of luck at that point and hoping to get lucky in my plays and positioning. But I'm thinking, why not do it again? But this time I'm going to do both commons and rares. So I'm increasing rarity by 1. And I'm not doing this to prove any point that you don't need legendaries or anything like that. But I'm just doing this for fun. And if you want to read into it like that, that's up to you. And with this account as well, I have very few cards from the other factions. I have very few. And whatever I do have, it was just like open in packs. I didn't craft anything. So like this Eternal Life right here. Most likely I got this from a pack that I randomly opened. And all the cards I wasn't using at the time, I remember I sharded. I just opened a few packs and I had some of the new Age of Dragon packs. There was like a promo for that, so I have some single cards like Dragon Lore, stuff like that. But all of my cards are mainly in the ninjas and warlocks within these two, and I have some neutrals. The other 3 don't have. I don't recommend doing that as a new player though. If you're trying to build up your collection, you don't want to shard any of your cards, unless if you have more than 2 of them, of course. And over time, your collection will grow. You keep opening new packs. You'll eventually start sharding stuff, and then you craft things. If you really, really want to craft like a common or something for your deck, okay, you can shard something, but something that's completely useless or that you'll never use. Something like Shockwave or something like that, where it's not that great of a card, or like Wings of the Valkyrie, where it's not that great, where you'll rarely use it as a very niche card. Those you can maybe shard, but I don't really recommend doing that. On this count, however, I did shard everything. And fortunately, right now I have over 11,000 shards still, so I can make some new crafts if I want to. But I'm going to stick to just the commons rares. I do have like a few other things, like, what are we looking at? Like Detonate here. This is an epic, but I'm not going to play it in my deck. And I know I have like a Kuru. I popped this Eternal Darkness in like 2 packs, which was kind of cool, but this is like a lame legendary right now anyway, but I'm not going to play things like that. So we're just here to have some fun. I'm going to play this deck, going to see how far we get. And right now what I did was I recopied the same all commons deck that I have. I'm going to go through it in this video and just basically upgrade it to rares. And give you an idea of what I'm thinking for deck building and how we're going to progress. So, got lunch here. It's a 2 movement buff, and I like ninjas for the movement buffs. I like being able to get in there, go wherever I want, and it really combos well with things like Fire Whirl and stuff like that. And I'm going to add in some Dark Fires just now, so that's going to be kind of cool. And I like Lunge as well because it adds to my attack. So another thing that I focused on in this deck are units that have abilities like Pierce and Cleave, because then I could get in some value plays and really own people with that, especially if they're not suspecting it. If you have like a swordsman on the board, you position wrong, you position far away where you can't hit it, but then you play Lunge, you get in there 6 damage, especially with buildings and stuff. You just wreck people with a card like that. Last time I had Momentum, and Momentum has changed since then. Actually, a few of the cards have changed since then, so I'm going to cut some cards. And we also, this deck does not have any of the Warlock Academy or Age of Dragon cards yet, so I'm going to add in a few of them. Momentum used to give you +1 damage for each movement moved. So something like Headless Horseman with his charge 3 would get like +6 attack extra. I believe, I don't really remember. It might be like +1 damage for every 2 movements, something like that. And this card went through a few iterations. I think people were abusing it for a while. I was abusing it too in like a different deck back in the day, and I made that deck just to abuse this. It was called Panda Express, and the idea was you get high damage and use multi-strike to essentially hit the castle twice with a lot of damage. There was something called Cancer Deck a little while ago. I was on hiatus for about a month. I was doing some traveling, so I wasn't really playing Cards and Castles at that time. And apparently that thing was running rampant, and this was the card that was causing it. However, what the devs did for quite a while is they kept nerfing everything else. Like they nerfed Lunge, they nerfed a bunch of stuff because they were trying to disable all of the enablers for that card, which I think was not a good idea because they ended up just nerfing a lot of things, and the deck was still running rampant for a while, or this card was running rampant for a while. They could have just nerfed this once and everything else would have been fine. Now, I feel like Ninjas, a lot of their stuff is a little subpar, and the reason for that is because so many things were nerfed unnecessarily when they could have just went straight to the problem and took care of that. Anyways, let's cut Momentum. We're going to leave Breath of Fire for now. I'm going to try to be as aggro as I can with this deck. This deck is going to play aggro control, but as we progress, I'm either going to swap things out based off how things go, and it might end up becoming a little bit more control-ish. I'm going to cut Chaotic Storm for now as well. Dark Bolt, it's different. Before it was 1 gold dealing 1 damage. Now it's 2 gold for 2 damage. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to start adding in some things though. So Adrenaline Rush I want to add, but I'm not 100% sure about that. I'm going to cut Lumberjack and Bear, and I'm going to replace it with... Where's this guy? I'm going to replace it with Mischievous Imp. So last time I had Mark of Detonation, I think I had 1 Naturalize in there. I was playtesting those cards. I might possibly think of running Kunai. I don't think it's great, but I want to try out the new Kunai with 2 damage. We'll see how that goes too. I'm not going to run Mark of Detonation, even though it's 5 damage. I don't like not being able to control it. And I'm not running Sacrifice here either because I'm not going super crazy aggro, like all-in aggro. Patient Study I might want to run, but I'm going to hold off on that for right now. Okay, so I'm going to swap out Shadow Katana. I actually like Shadow Katana a lot. It gives you 2 attack and 1 movement. I'm going to swap it out for Tag Team, because Tag Team will be even more surprised, because I'm going to play something from my hand, or I can heal up something, and it can also combo with the Awakening ability of Mischievous Imp. Fire Whirl, I like this card a lot, so I'm going to leave it in. Incinerate, for now I'm going to leave it in, but I might want to try out Witch Bolt at some point, because I haven't really play tested it all that much, and we'll see. Okay, so we're going through. Last time I had Firestorms, and I just, at that time, I found like it was underwhelming for me. I wanted it to do more than what it did, so we're not going to add it right now, but I might consider it for later. I think this is a new sensei. Before, there was a different type of sensei, different stats. This might be a good card to add in. I'm going to potentially keep that on a short list. Right now, as you can see down here, we have 14 units in the deck. I'm purposely not filling it up to 30, so then this way I get some room to play around with what I really want. Okay, Dark Spirits, I want to add those in. And I'm hoping to combo that with Tag Team. Darkfire, I want to add those in. Final Strikes are awesome, but they're epics. Okay, Fire Drake I want as well. So I think here I'm going to start cutting some things like Guardian. I'm going to cut Guardian for now. Add in Fire Drake. Scout, I am not 100% sure right now. I'm going to leave him there just because he kind of fills in the curve. We have a 2-drop, we have a 3-drop, and we got some 4-drops. I would actually prefer maybe a different 2-drop, something heavy hitting. Scout, I like his movement speed, so that's why I'm going to leave him in there. I don't want to have like a ton of 4-drops as well, because I'm thinking Dancing Swords might also be good. I think that's a rare. I have to double check that. We'll see. I'm considering even Devastate, just because I know right now, in the meta, there is a lot of buildings in the Crusader decks, and there are Crusader or Warlock decks, which have tons of buildings, so I might put a Devastate or Arson in there. We'll see. Cycle of Destruction, I feel it's too costly and constructed, so I'm not going to play it. Okay, I'm going to cut Sorcerer for now. I don't really like it as much in its current state. So, you can see we're already making our curve of this deck a little bit lower. But if I cut out Sorcerer, I gotta put in something. I might put it back in Sorcerer, actually. Should I just leave him in there, guys? What do you think? I could also add in Lunge, but I don't want to run just 14 units. 14 I feel is a bit too low, especially with not much draw power here. And I think I might cut Breath of Fire as well. So Breath of Fire is pretty aggro card, and I think I was using Breath of Fire as a way of controlling the board a little bit more. But if we're running Firewall and Darkfire, Breath of Fire might not be needed as much. I might end up later cutting Incinerate and putting in back Breath of Fire. I'm going to run Patient Study right now. Actually, I like Patient Study for Kuru, and I'm not running Kuru. Okay, so I want one building Destroyer. I'm going to try Arson first. And Patient Study, I might put in Vanishing Powder instead. Like if someone is blocking their castle hardcore or something like that, I need a way to get in Killing Blow. That's basically it. Patient Study won't do it for me, but it's a cantrip card. I get to draw. Maybe I should put in that Adrenaline Rush. Okay, let's also look at what cards we didn't craft yet. So here are the Warlock cards. Combustion, I'm not going to play this card in this type of deck. So I could add in a Vampire for some more early aggro instead of the, what's that guy? The Sorcerer. The thing with Sorcerer I don't like right now is that he used to have 3 range, and right now he has 2 range. I used to like Sorcerer a lot. Sorcerer and Kuru are my go-to cards in this type of deck. But Vampire doesn't do that. But we have that new guy who does that. New guy. Where's the new guy? Oh, we can also potentially add in Immolates. Immolate will deal 3 damage in an AoE fashion. This might be a good play. I will consider Immolate. Mage Apprentice? Should I add this guy in? Mage Apprentice deals 2 damage to itself. So he's definitely controlly for the board, but he's not going to get any damage to the castle as much, because if he runs in, he just dies. And with that 2 attack, that's not super impressive. I think I'm going to add in back those sorcerers. I'm going to craft 1 Arson and see what happens there. Okay. Flames of Eternity, nope, nope, nope. All these are rares and epics. See, Saurus is awesome in that way. Saurus, I think I would be playing this if this, forget about like his Awaken ability, but for his stats, forgetting even health and stuff, 2 movement, 3 range. That's what I like. Any unit with 3 range, I think is can be useful. Not that it's great, but can be useful. And up here, the high end stuff are too expensive for us. Replacement technique, I could also run, but I'm not gonna run this plus the other one, tag team. And I'm using the tag team right now because it has the 2 damage buff, which will help us kill things. Okay. Ooh, harmonic balance could also be really good. Alright, let's create 1 harmonic balance. Might be useful, might not. We're gonna add those guys in and see what happens. We could also potentially run Spirit Blast, but I think I'll wait and see for that card. So what's gonna happen is I'm gonna play the games. We're going to win some, we're going to lose some. Winning some can be fun, but losing some is actually going to be what improves our deck the most. I'm going to cut these 2 Patient Studies and put in those 2 cards we just crafted. I'm even considering cutting Incinerate for a Witch Bolt. I'm going to do that. I don't recommend what I'm doing right now. Right now I'm putting like 1 of several cards. I don't recommend that. For consistency, you want to play 2. However, I'm doing this a little bit more because I want to test. I want to test these cards if they're good and if they're useful. And what's going to happen is, let's say I have Arson in my hand while I'm playing a game. Something happens in a board. And I'm thinking, what do I need? What do I want to play? And I'm going to, not putting in this foil because, I don't know, just don't feel like it. This is foilless, guys. Or rainbow-less, rather. So if I have Arson in my hand and something's happening in board state, Arson's not going to be useful for me at that time. Then I'm going to think, what do I wish Arson really was? What do I need at this time to control the board or win the game or own the board, whatever it is. And then after a few games like that, then I'm going to go back to my deck. I'm going to figure out which cards I did not like having in my hand or found useless in my hand, which cards I wanted to have, really want to have, and that's how I know how to swap things out and mess around with it. Okay guys, so this is the deck. We got 2 times Lunge, we're testing Witch Bolt, we got 2 Dark Bolts, we're testing Harmonic Balance, we have 2 Imps, 2 Tag Teams, 2 Fire Whirls. I'm going to keep Incinerate there, but it might get changed to something else like Breath of Fire. I have 2 Scouts. Scouts right now I'm unsure about, but I'm going to leave him in there. We got our Arson. We have 2 Dark Spirits, 2 Dark Fires, 2 Fire Drakes, 2 Headless, 2 Sorcerers, 2 Swordsmen, 2 Legionnaire. I'm not too happy about Sorcerers either, but he'll probably get in some damage for us because with his 3 movement, 2 range, that plus Lunge will hit the castle. So typically you want to add up their movement and range, and it has to equal 7. If it equals 7, you're going to be able to hit the castle. Like, for example, Headless, even though it doesn't say it here, his range is 1, right? So movement is 3 plus charge 3, so that's 6. And range is 1 because he's a melee unit. So 6 plus 1 is 7. Something like... so Scout. So Scout is 4 movement, 1 range. So that's 5. So with Scout plus Lunge, he's going to hit the castle, right? Because Lunge is 2. Okay guys, I will see you in the next video, and we're going to play some games in ranked and see what happens with this deck. Alright, remember to like, subscribe, and comment below.